And in this final lesson, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about some suggestions of what I would learn. Since I am a modeler, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of tips in terms of what you should learn to become a better modeler. You really should learn rigging to become a better modeler. I'm not saying learn rigging to a production environment, though I did. But I just learned it because I simply didn't want to rely on someone else to rig my models for me. Though it has helped me become a better modeler, and I say that because when you model something, especially in a production pipeline, you have to give the character riggers at least enough time to make the character rigs, and this is possible and done through the fact that usually if I model something, I will send them a very blocky base version of the character, and that's just a general mesh that they can then have, say, like the size and the scale of the character to go ahead and start building the rig, because theoretically all character rigs are pretty much the same in terms of whether it's a bipedal character or whether it's a quadruped. Birds themselves are a little tricky because I mean you have to get the wings to fold and articulate properly. But I would suggest that you learn rigging, because this will give you a better appreciation for understanding how to model geometry correctly, and basically sending a blocky character, a basic block character over to the character riggers, especially if you work in a production pipeline, because they need that to basically work at the same time that you're modeling the character to create their rigs, especially if it's going to be getting animated. Um, or, let's say you want to pose your face, even if it's just for a specific still. Um, you would want to learn how to actually rig a face. I'm definitely not going to be teaching you how to rig a face here, though I do understand how to do it manually and do it automatically with a plugin for Maya called the setup machine and the face machine. I can do manual rigging, but it just takes an exorbitant amount of time, especially if the character is complex. So it tends to, if you want to save yourself time, use plugins and use scripts as much as you can, because if it's going to save you time, then you're better off. But the general idea is you really want to learn rigging, or I wouldn't. I don't know if I would really suggest learning animation, unless you want to be an animator, of course. But if you're a modeler, I don't know if I would suggest learning animation. I would totally suggest learning rigging, because this will definitely give you a better appreciation for how the riggers need to work, or what they need to go ahead and create their models. In this case, I mean, I did all the rigging as you can see here, but it also sort of does help you actually to model a character, because let's say that you needed to open it, needed to model an expression on his face. I mean, you could simply just use a plugin for Maya, and let's just go ahead and basically pose him. And since he's a fully rigged character, it's basically easier just to, instead of model a mesh in place, you can simply just pose the mesh as you want. And basically there you go. It's easier to pose your model with a rig rather than actually model it in place. And you can do this simply with plugins for Maya, or using the transpose master tool inside of ZBrush, which allows you to sort of rig your characters. But that's something for another lesson, because it can get complex, and especially if you have a very dense character, or a character that has a lot of moving parts, or a lot of parts in general. But the general idea is, yeah, go ahead and if you're a modeler, I would suggest learning rigging, because then this will give you a better appreciation for understanding how the riggers have to work in terms of, creating the rigs. And I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. It's been a pleasure, of course. Big thanks has to go out to cgtutsplus.com and Ben Tate for allowing me to go ahead and bring this tutorial to you. I hope it does improve your modeling skills, and keep an eye on the website for more tutorials to come.